This project under the crow is a little batty. Hopefully a lot batty. Because it's a bat box build. I just like emphasizing B words. I don't know why. Try it. Bang, bang. Boom, boom. Blah, blah. Bat box build. It's fun, right? So we haven't even started and I already have a problem. I said in a previous video we were going to use the lumber that we milled from those elderflower logs to make a wildlife box. And the bat box is that box. But look at that. I mean, when I first milled this, it was relatively straight. Now it's as crooked as a bat swing. And I still have to use it. A lot of the pieces are this way, and I kind of knew that they would because it was somewhat green, and elderflower has a tendency to warp anyway. So instead of just building a typical bat box, I'm going to have to use some type of almost like a template or a framework to attach this to, kind of an inside-outside box, so that I can compensate for this warped wood. That's also fun to say. Warped wood. Now I'll tell you something that's really batty is I still have tons of old refrigerator parts, old dishwasher parts, and things like that. I can't seem to get rid of them. So this old refrigerator door is going to be the template or the outer framework, outer skin for the back of our bat box. I'm just going to kind of disassemble it, take out that stuff, and figure this out as I go. Okay, so the skin is cut. I've roughed it up so that I can use construction adhesive to start attaching these pieces. And I have to say, if you want to build a bat box, pay no attention to this convoluted mess I'm doing right now. I mean, it doesn't need to be this complicated, right? I mean, you could just go get some plywood and within a couple of hours you could have a nice bat box. I'm just using what I have, and I wanted to use this wood that came from this property, so that's the reason for all of this over complication, you know. But I think it'll be nice in the end. Like I say, I've kind of already worked with it to the point where I've cut out all the bad sections. There's a couple of warped wood pieces still, like this right here. I'm going to fill that in with construction adhesive so that, yeah, I make sure that I get a really good bond. A bat bond. I didn't have any metal for, at least out of the refrigerator door, for the sides. This is as thick as a 4-chamber bat box is. That's amazing to me. It's like, I don't know, 4.5 inches or something. We've got the angle at the top because the roof's going to be kind of like a shed style roof. And I've already got the pieces cut. I did find some metal though for the outside skin from, believe it or not, an old dishwasher I found. I mean, they had a dishwasher up here. They were definitely living better than I am right now. And the bats are going to have a house that's made out of a refrigerator, a dishwasher. I mean, they got more amenities than I do. I'm telling you. If they don't want it, fine. I'm moving in. Oop, I'm getting called for tea. I could either finish this or go to tea. I'm going to tea. Sorry. Alright, so I've kind of softened, what do you call it? Sanded? Softened. I sanded some of the rougher areas here. I didn't want the bats, like, you know, hurting themselves on anything, but they still need something to kind of grab their hands onto, or feet, or whatever those things are that they got. And I've been playing around with some different methods, but using the grinder to put this little groove in here, spaced about, I don't know, ½ inch apart, is really going to work the best. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give them something to grab onto. I mean, they're bats. They're not like, you know, spiders. Okay. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. This down here is going to be open. This will be the landing area. Yeah, it's weird, right? They're going to land on a vertical surface, but I guess that's what they like. I am relying on information from, I guess you would call them, authorities on what they do like. I guess they've had some conversations with the bats. But I think this looks pretty good for them. If you were a bat, would you hang out here? I knew I'd forgotten something, and then I read the words mounting bow. I think I meant mounting bolts, and I did that because I knew I'd forget them. I did. For me, this is pretty exciting. This is my third attempt at staining the inside of the bat box. The first stain I bought was white, and I found out bats don't like light colors on the inside of their box. Then I bought some dark stain, but it was oil-based. Bats don't like oil-based stains. So finally I went to a specific paint store, and they mixed up some water-based dark stain. It's going to take several coats, but man, this is an exciting time for me and the bats. And I don't even like painting. Look at that. Now I'm going to start with the interior panels, and these I made up before I actually started filming this video. I did do a little short on it, and these are made up of the smaller pieces of elderflower that I had, and all I did was, well, I put dowel pins in them and glued them together so that there's no screws or anything that could poke the bats. And then these 1.5-inch pass-throughs near the top, so the bats can go in and out of the chambers. So this is like actually a 4-chamber bat box, so it has 3 partitions, and it's like basically like a 4-bedroom house then, right? So the time has come, the staining is done, and yeah, it looks terrible. I've never seen a worse job. But I put on as many coats as I could before I ran out of stain. Part of the reason, other than I just didn't really try, that this stain looks so bad is we're dealing with, again, a wood that you should never really build with, that I'm building with. More of a green wood, and it's at different stages of dryness, so it's going to absorb the stain at different levels. And you can see these back pieces here were probably more green than the rest of it. Their thickness has a lot to do with that. And so I did go ahead and bolt these to that back skin because I have to do whatever I can to prevent any type of warping. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to start laying it up. I've got the roof supports are going to be here at the top. Then you're going to have the side supports that are going to tie into these sides like that. The sides have a vent cut out, and then they're going to have another support down here at the bottom. And then these separation chambers are going to go in. Basically, you're going to have a, let's say, 3/4 of an inch chamber below, 3/4 of an inch chamber. Another separation goes on top, and it just keeps building up like a sandwich. Whew, I'm hungry. And that's the way it's going to work. And then at the front will be a top cover, another vent space, and then a bottom cover. And hopefully the bats don't have good eyesight. I've read that they didn't, but I'm just hoping they don't show up fresh from the optometrist all wearing glasses, because I don't know, they're not going to give this bat hotel a good rating with this stain job. I mean, and there goes my business. All my dreams of an empire of bat hotels. Okay, so it's together. I've sealed all of the screws and bolts, and as you can see, there was tons of those. And I even found some old paint that was done in the cellar. I don't know how old it is, but and so I'm putting a coat on the exterior. Right now, you're like, this is probably the ugliest thing that you've ever done. And I would agree with you. Sometimes when you're working with junk, like an old refrigerator door and parts of a dishwasher, using wood that, you know, was a tree not too long ago, and you cut it up with basically a chainsaw and a beaver. Yeah, it's not going to look good originally. But you've got to have some type of belief that you can make it look decent. At this point, you guys are staying around for one of two reasons. One, you're like, I just want to see how bad of a job this guy can do. I mean, what is this thing going to look like? Or you're like, I'm here to see this amazing transformation of trash into treasure. You know what? I'm going to do my best to disappoint all of you by turning this into something that's just meh. And while that may be close to impossible, I think the next thing that we're going to do, you might start to see some type of an improvement. We're going to put a roof on it. And what type of roof? Well, we've got tons of slate. That's right. The bat box is getting an authentic slate roof. Whew. I think I did worse on this paint job than I did the other. Oh, by the way, too, I am slopping it on here because I want it thick, but also there's going to be another step after this, and this rough texture will help in adhering something. That's a teaser. Teaser, teaser, teaser. the roof looks pretty good. You know, yes, right now it looks like an expensive roof on a rickety shack. That's the problem with being a building contractor for bats, you know. They spend all their money on the roof, and now they don't have any money for siding. What are we gonna do, bats? Oh, you good for it? Okay, okay. I'll keep going. These little squares I'm gonna use for the siding, these are the only thing that I actually had to buy material-wise. They're like 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters, and they're not going to provide a whole lot of protection, but that's the whole reason why we have all this skin on here and all the caulking and all the paint, and I mean that's one of the reasons. The other reason is I used warped wood. But these will start to make this now, hopefully look like something other than what it is, junk. I turn it over to you, members of the jury. Is it junk or jewelry? I guess it could be junk jewelry. Yeah, probably a fitting name for it, junk jewelry. Now that it's looking a little bit better, all I've got to do is put several coats of paint on it. It's almost like I hear somebody screaming at me through the screen. You do! It's me! Please don't paint it! Not you! Please get somebody else to paint it! I've watched you paint in this video twice! You're horrible at it! Now that this thing looks less horrendous than ever, please! No! Sub him out! Please! Somebody stop him! Nah, must have just been in my head. With the paint done, this is almost ready to turn over to the new homeowners, the bats. But before they get it, Ray is going to paint some special names on it that were part of its construction. And I still have to hang it, but that's not today. So for me, this project is done. And I want to say, hey, if you've got any ambition to build any type of wildlife box, do it. Do it. I mean, this was fun for me, as complicated as I made it. And you can build these things so simply and so quickly. It's a fun thing to do, and it really helps out the wildlife. Or buy a box, right? I mean, I bought like a bee box, just a bee house, just a few days ago that was really cheap. And it was awesome. So you don't have to build stuff, you can buy it, but I'll say it is fun to build. And there is a warning: if you decide to build a bat house, bat box, bat condo, whatever you want to call it, be careful when it comes time for the bats to pay you. Yeah, they're gonna just try to pay you in mosquitoes. Yeah, you can't buy anything in mosquitoes. Bats.